Leicester nil, Arsenal 2. It was a painful watch for about 80 minutes and then a fantastic watch for the last 10 minutes. Given the sort of context before the game with all the injuries and the manner of the victory in those last 10 minutes, is this Arsenal's one? Is this one of their biggest wins of the season so far?
I mean, I suppose it's got to be up there just for what it meant. If Arsenal dropped points in that game, and I was sitting there in the press box watching as the clock ticked towards about sort of 70 minutes, I was already looking a little bit forward to 90 and thinking, this is it. 2 points dropped here, and this is it. If you're dropping points at Leicester, you're not taking advantage of Liverpool dropping points against Everton a couple of days earlier. There's no chance. And so it was a really big win. You could see that at the end by the celebrations as well. The players knew it. They had to come through quite a bit of adversity. They didn't play very well. Didn't play well at all, in fact, in the first half. Did improve in the second. But these are the sort of wins. If you do go on and win the title, and I still think it's very unlikely, don't get me wrong, but if you do go on and win the title, these are the wins you look back on and think, that was a really key moment. Not playing well, heading towards a draw, and then you find something, you find a way to win. And Arsenal did that on Saturday. They had to turn to the bench, but the bench worked, and you could see what it meant to the players and to the coaching staff.
Yeah, it is often those sort of ugly wins away from home when the cards are stacked against you that can be crucial in a title race. But you spoke last week about Merino could be an emergency option off the bench up front. Lo and behold, comes off the bench, he delivers two brilliant goals, fantastic header, and then, that first time finish into the back of the net, fantastic stuff. And so is he now a genuine option from the first whistle, or should he still be that sort of impact sub, that impact striker?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot since Saturday. It's a really interesting situation, and it's a big decision Mikel Arteta is going to be facing this week ahead of the weekend. I'm sure he's going to be thinking long and hard. It sounds obvious, doesn't it? It's like, well, he comes on, scores 2 goals, he's got to start the next game. Especially given the context behind Raheem Sterling's performance as well. Raheem Sterling did not play well at all, and so you think it's just obvious that you make that change and you play Merino as a forward, but I don't know how sustainable it was. It was amazing what he did, coming off the bench. There were 2 great goals and everything, but could he do that from the start? I'm not sure. So I think it's a really big decision. If you start Marino on Saturday, for example, and it doesn't work, and you get to that 67-minute mark, you've got no real way of changing it off the bench. But if you leave Marino on the bench and you again play Sterling and you need to change things in the second half like you did at Leicester, there is a more of a game-changing option of Marino because it changes the way that Arsenal play completely if you stick him up front. But if you take him off in the second half and it hasn't worked and you put Sterling on, it's just kind of, I don't see that as a game-changing sub. So he's going to have to think long and hard about it. I think he probably, and I changed my mind on this a lot, but at the moment I'm sort of veering towards Marino starting just because Sterling was really off it, and it's tough when you're one of 3 attackers to play your way out of a starting lineup, but it kind of feels like he did with that performance. He really struggled. It was a tough watch, and so I don't know if you can start him again at the weekend. So I think probably Marino will start, but I wouldn't be shocked if Mikel keeps it as it was and leaves him on the bench again to bring him on.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that Sterling performance in a bit, but Sterling's former club, Liverpool, the next day, obviously, they went 7 points clear again, beating Wolves 2-1. Not convincing in that second half, especially. We talked about could there be a lasting impact from that Merseyside derby in the second half? Looked like there was when they were under the cosh, but the fact is they're still 7 points clear. They could go 10 points clear temporarily if they beat Aston Villa tomorrow. But obviously Villa away is a difficult game. They got Man City at the weekend as well. So two massive games coming up for Arne Slot, especially when, they've had two unconvincing performances. So do you think Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta will be sitting at home thinking, they could be sensing a slip up, like they could be licking their lips and thinking Liverpool, might not take 6 points from these games?
Well, I think they have to be looking at this week as potentially a pivotal week. If they are going to have an opportunity to chase Liverpool down, I think they would have probably been eyeing this week for a while as the chance to potentially do it because of those 2 tricky away games that Liverpool have got back to back. They weren't convincing against Wolves. The second half was was difficult for them. But again, kind of like Arsenal at Leicester, they got through. It doesn't matter if you win. It doesn't really matter. We're at that stage of the season now. We're certainly getting to that stage of the season now where performances don't really matter if you're going for the title. You just want the 3 points, move on, put that game to bed, don't really think about it again, and just look ahead to the next one. So Liverpool got the job done, although it was unconvincing. There were nerves. Probably for the first time this season, you probably saw a little bit of the nerves in the players and the fans around Anfield, and that's only going to heat up. And Arsenal will hope that maybe we will start to see more of that. Um, but this is a massive week in terms of the title race. And if Liverpool can come through these two games, if they can win at Villa Park and they can win at the Etihad, then I don't really, I can't see anyone other than Liverpool winning this title, because not only do Arsenal then need them to slip up in games you probably wouldn't expect them to slip up in, you need Arsenal to basically take every single point as well. And given the situation Arsenal are in and the lack of attackers they've got, that feels unrealistic to me. So this is a pivotal week, no doubt about it. Liverpool got the chance to really see. I mean, they've already got control, but they've got the chance to basically put 1.5 hands on the trophy this week, or the door is going to open for Arsenal to potentially take advantage of. So yeah, huge week coming up in the title race.